Hello and welcome back to the Fairy Elephant Effect. I'm your host Elysabeth Wolter, a life coach, EFT tapping specialist and a happy habits activator. And here we talk about the emotional threads and patterns that quietly shape our lives or not so quietly shape our lives until we are brave enough to pull at them and see what unravels or transforms. Great to be back with you today. Last week we spoke about the resistance to change, and this week I want to explore something that sits right underneath that resistance: the fear of the unknown. Now, this is something I lived with for a long time. When I was deep in anxiety, panic attacks, and harsh self-judgment, I couldn't imagine a life where something amazing might happen for me. I didn't feel like I deserved it. I was continually searching and seeking for approval, but never offering any to myself. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I was in many ways an unapproved person, especially in my own eyes. And when I do my EFT tapping, I deeply and completely love, honour and approve of myself is my end statement. When we start to approve of ourselves, there is a mighty, impactful energy connected to that word, because words have power. But anyway, back to talking about the fear of the unknown. And one thing that kept me small, stuck and circling the same worn tracks was this idea: better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Because that was a saying that many people lived by. But honestly, that belief was just another clever trap, a way to justify staying where I was, a way to avoid the risk of dreaming bigger, living more, or stepping into unknown territory where, God forbid, I might thrive. I want you to think about how many people you know, maybe you're one of them, who stayed too long in the same job, the same relationship, the same mindset, not because it's fulfilling, but because it's familiar. And people go, we stayed together for 50 years, but was there quality in that relationship? If you've worked through and the two of you have decided to be in a relationship and you're working towards the same thing, that's one thing. But some people stay even though it is definitely not the right thing for them or the person they're in the relationship with. They stay because somewhere along the way they were taught that you don't get to change your mind, that growth is disruptive, that wanting something different is selfish and unrealistic. How does that feel? But it's a truth. Many people live by it. And let's be honest, many of these people are deeply unhappy. Their lives feel small and squashed and disconnected, but they stay because the fear of the unknown is louder than the possibility of joy. For me, the fear of the unknown was tied to the belief that change brought pain. I had enough evidence to support it too. Every time I tried to do something for myself, it seemed like a battle. Something simple like going to an evening class or a hobby group became a massive emotional hurdle. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I had to fight for it in my environment. And the effort, it drained the joy right out of it. If you experienced that, I'm sure many of you have. I eventually realised these battles weren't always about the other people. They were about the internal hoops I created, the belief that I had to suffer before I could earn anything good. That was the pattern. And next week we're going to talk more about that suffering attitude, because that's another important thing to talk about that helps us to untangle another thread that we may be holding on to. So that was the pattern. The pattern keeps proving itself because our beliefs always find evidence. So I want to ask you, what hoops have you created in your life? Where are you unconsciously making things harder because of your still beliefs that you're not allowed to have anything easy? That you have to struggle to deserve joy, peace, or new opportunities? Here's the truth that changed for me. The unknown can be filled with good things too. And when I started believing that, more good things started to show up. And of course, when we have that saying, when I get into that house, or when I get that job, or when I've lost 5 Ks, I will be happy. We also know that's not a truth either, because the internal loops of our conversation, the thoughts that we believe in, are the same. Unless we change the thoughts, we will never get to being happy or joyful or content or have peace or be able to even recognize new opportunities. So if you're listening to this and feel that nudge, if you know that you've been holding back because the fear of the unknown feels safer than possibility, this is your invitation to challenge that belief. Because that knowing isn't serving you. Sometimes that knowing keeps you stuck. And staying stuck is not safer, it's just more familiar. And so my question for you today is, where in your life have you convinced yourself it is better to stay where you are, even though it's not really okay? Are you telling yourself that things will magically get better? Something outside is going to come in and transform your life and you're just waiting for that. That's not going to happen. But, we have that illusion. And that maybe somebody else will change. And because they've changed, you have permission to change and things will be better. Or that your discomfort is just the cost of stability. That you have to give up so much of who you are to be able to lead the life that you are leading at the moment. It has to have pain and suffering. It has to be less than. If this resonates with you and you're ready to explore what life could look beyond the fear, I've got a space to work with a few people right now. Message me and we'll talk about the best way forward for you. You don't have to stay stuck. You matter, you're allowed to change, and the unknown, it might just surprise you. Until next time, with love from me to you. It's just a fear, and we can get over our fears because we matter. You matter. See you next week. Bye for now.